Hello, Virgo. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. All right, Virgo, I love it. And what's funny is that enlightenment is like the hermit to me, but seeing natural for you is perfect. A lot of you guys know my mom was a Virgo. My very best friend in the whole world is Virgo sun and moon. Virgo has always been like a really big, important part of my life. And I always root for you guys every time I do these readings. And I know you guys have been going through some shit, but this is beautiful. And I love seeing this. So natural from Lay Vampire, authentic, real, and organic, and then enlightenment from Chakra Wisdom. Natural is basically saying that you need to move away from ways of identifying who you think you are, whether that's by money, status, appearance, personality, and just getting back to a place where you feel good about being who you are naturally. But, I always feel like beauty when I see natural, like natural beauty that comes from within you. Especially when we're talking about Virgo, because you guys will go out of your way to help somebody. Even if it's, to the point where you put yourself on the back burner. But anyway, with enlightenment, this to me, again, is the Hermit card. Part of the key ideas is path to enlightenment, the reluctant sage, taking time alone to connect, trusting your intuition, needing solitude and time for reflection. So yes, very much the Hermit. But it's saying that you're seeking some peace now and getting past whatever fears you may have. You're receiving that enlightenment about who you truly are. Like, it's almost like looking at the best parts of, all right, Virgo, here we go. Here's your overall for the week. The Emperor. Oh boy. Now, do I feel like this has to do with somebody? Maybe. I don't know. I kind of feel both, because immediately when I seen it, I thought, okay, you're getting control over your life. The Emperor is control and order out of chaos. But it's about exerting your will onto your domain, taking control of your own life, taking control of a situation. But now, as far as a person goes, with the Emperor, we could be talking about Aries. Or we could be talking about possibly somebody who is older than you. Could be a father figure, right? Being the Emperor. Somebody who has, wisdom here, especially it being the Emperor. But they tend to be a little bit pushy, though. But I don't know. Like, I get that this is probably bigger than that. And it's really, with the overall, going to be about you getting control over what is happening in your life now. Like firmly taking a stand, taking that leadership position on what's happening. Now, in the past, the Two of Pentacles. So trying to figure things out, balance things out. And what I like about this one is that, we don't really see the choppy waters. You see more calmer waters behind this one. And like I've always said with this, when you see, in most of them, you will see the sign of infinity. And basically what that's saying is that you're flexible. You're able to move with the changes. But, you're getting to a place now, with this being the past, where you may be trying to get away from doing the juggling act. Whether we're talking about, trying to balance out what is going on with work and home, to relationships, to jobs, dealing with finances. It's like we're done doing this now. It's you trying to figure all of this out and get to a place of order and control, for sure. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. So one of the things that I know, especially with the Virgos that I have dealt with, now mind you, like I said, I grew up with one. When it comes to going out and being around your friends, you guys, like, there are times where you're okay with being the hermit, but there are other times where, like, you need to go out. My mom had a very eclectic group of people in her life. A lot of different friends, a lot of different people from different backgrounds that just absolutely loved her and who she was. With looking at the Three of Cups in the present, it's, you needing to connect, I think, with some people in your life. Like, I'm not seeing this as a bad thing. I don't think that this is about third-party situations. I really do think that it's about friends, and maybe you have spent a little bit on, like, going out and, hanging out with friends, because with the Three of Cups, right, the drinky drink. Some of you may literally be celebrating a reunion, getting together with people. But I see it as a good thing because I see you being more in control again with the Emperor being there. And even if we're talking about another person, this could definitely be somebody who supports you and supports what you're doing. But with the Two of Pentacles, right, like trying to figure out finances possibly when it comes to getting celebrations in order, which could definitely be something that's going on here, partying. But I don't feel bad around this at all. And this is good. It's different. Oh, wow. Wow. You have Aries and Sag going on. So temperance in future conditions. And again, it is the need for balance between temperance and the Two of Pentacles. Balance with going out and celebrating. Balance between, paying the bills and still being able to have a good time. I don't so much feel like this has to do with you having to be patient or wait on anything. I think it's about your own equilibrium, and like I said before, when it comes to that, it's really about that nice equal flow between how you're thinking and how you're feeling and, creating what you want by getting that nice balance, that nice flow. But I like it. Like, I like it and I feel good about what's going on here. But, for some of you, right, when we're talking about moderation, maybe, especially if we have money involved. But like I said, with the Emperor, it's you getting control, that or you have somebody that's definitely supporting you. Because I'm telling you, like, I don't see this as a bad thing at all. Oh, wow, your best path to follow, the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so when the Wheel of Fortune shows up, yeah, we could definitely be talking about repeating cycles. But here's the thing. This is really about fate and destiny stepping in. This is only the 10. You're not coming to a full completion. You're going to have to go back 1 through 9. But it is the opportunity for better things to happen. And sometimes, with the Emperor being there, like what I feel like looking at these two, sometimes we don't feel like we're in control of what is happening in our lives. Fate and destiny just kind of steps in and here's some shit for you. Here you go. You got to deal with it now. This is really about you being in control over what happens with you. You may have to go back and do the 1 through 9, but you ultimately get to say what happens this time. But wow, Virgo, like I'm looking at this and I feel really good about everything that's going on for you right now. And I go right back to natural and enlightenment. In your environment. The King of Swords. Whew. All right. So now, for some of you dealing with air, possibly. But if you do have a person in your space, they may be like trying to help you see things from a logical perspective rather than emotional when it comes to dealing with possibly finances and celebrations and, getting together and having a good time, but then at the same time still being able to balance everything out. Like I feel like this is an anchor for you almost, but yet they still support you, and we can definitely be talking about a friend too. But with the King of Swords, like, I don't feel bad about him. I mean, even with the Emperor there, yeah. You could be talking about somebody who may be a little bit, like, dominant when it comes to the way that they see things or the way that they want things done. But, it's only because there's a need for, like, moderation on your part. But like I said, this is really about you, though. Like, I'm seeing this more so as you rather than the person. Like, this is definitely the person that's in your environment or the way that you are feeling because of people. But again, I see support. I see somebody that may be helping you see things clearly. Like, I don't feel bad about anything here, and you may be hooking up with a friend and having a good time, but like you're still in this space where you need some balance. Oh boy. Okay. Your hopes and your fears, the Two of Cups. Now, what I will say is that for some of you, you may be looking at, possibly a relationship with someone who may be your friend. You know, but with the Two of Cups, it doesn't have to be romantic. Like I make sure that I point that out, when, especially when it comes to general readings. We could be talking about a friendship, a family member, a business partnership. But these are two people who are definitely seeing eye to eye on something. They're sharing their emotions, they're sharing their thoughts, and it's being reciprocated. You know, and for some of you, it's just hoping that, you know, another person that is around you is seeing eye to eye with you on a situation. But I don't know, because I'm looking at fate and destiny stepping in. I'm looking at a friend's situation, and then you hoping for the Two of Cups, you know, which is very possible. Now, you know, it could be that you may be hooking your friends up though too, but I don't know, because I'm looking at this as your best path to follow, and you needing to be in control over what happens this time. You know, but I'm looking at a situation where you come in trying to figure things out, and then you have the support system here, and like I said, it may be a friend possibly, but you're needing like balance on it and how you feel on it. Wow. And then coming out the Two of Wands. Boy. And that's probably a good space to be in, because, you know, making the decisions, right? Now, with the Two of Wands, you're looking to act. And I mean, the twos, right? Like, you're really in a spot right now where you're trying to figure things out. But looking at the Two of Wands coming out, you're going to act. But it's about, you know, planning the action that you're going to take here. And again, with this Two of Wands, like, and this has been showing up consistently, there are two different ways to do something. You could go this way, you could go that way, right? What course of action are you going to follow? You know, and with you needing balance here, like, it's probably a good thing that you're thinking about things, because again, it's like you're being asked to be in better control over your own fate and destiny. And then death, god damn, what the hell? Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say on this. I think that for some of you, especially if we're looking at, you know, possibly a new relationship coming through with the Five of Cups, like I see more so like disappointment in the past, hurt emotions that you may still be trying to figure out. But again, right, the message has always been that you still have the two remaining. Looking at the Ten of Swords, you know, disappointment over a really difficult ending. But like, I feel like you're coming out of this in a really big way, you know, because again, we're looking at the Two of Wands. How do we act? Especially if you have something new coming through, or you're wanting to have a relationship with somebody. Again, like, I'm not seeing third-party situations coming out on this. I just think that these are the circumstances around why you're planning on a course of action. But with death being there, something has to be over with, and something needs to change. And you guys aren't the only ones to pull this coming out. Like, whatever difficulties you've been through, whatever painful endings you've experienced, whatever disappointments you may have faced in terms of relationships, it's over with death. But it's like you need to accept that that's over now, because you're still looking at wanting to have, you know, a connection here. And again, like I said, you know, this could be any type of relationship. But I see support. I see support coming through when it comes to the Three of Cups. You know, and it could definitely be you leaning on people who actually support you and help you kind of go through this and help you plan better where you need to go in terms of how you may be feeling possibly about a person, because I'm still looking at this and you hoping to have that connection. These to me just seem like the circumstances, right? You know, and definitely, like, I can understand these two. If you've been through a painful ending, yeah, it would make sense that you would want to go out and just, like, I'm done with it, you know? But there is disappointment over what's been over with, or what has been painful to go through. But with death, it's definitely done. It's done. You know, the thing with death, though, too, is it is about, you know, recreating yourself, death and transformation. But needing to accept that a situation is completely over with, you know? And again, like, I feel like you need to be more in control of what is happening in your life. You know, what fate and destiny is handing you. You have a say in this. You have a say in what happens, no matter what you've been through. you know? And like with the Two of Pentacles, I look back at that and, you know, I'm looking at the Five of Cups and looking at you just trying to figure it out. As far as this goes, like I can see you, you know, wanting to just forget about it. And then with Death, and looking at the Two of Wands, it's really about the big changes that you're going through, accepting the definite ending of something. And again, you know, going through that transformation and finding that balance again. Wow. Wow. All right. Let's take a look and see what's going on with your relationships, Virgo. This is different. And it feels like to me that things are shifting away from the disappointing and painful things for you now, which is good. You know, and I go back to natural and enlightenment and think that you're getting back to a better state of being. All right. What are the messages for Virgo singles? Right there. Retreat. It's time to disconnect from the world. Virgo couples. What is going on for Virgo couples? I want that one right there. Playfulness to recapture romance. Allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. Needing to be a little bit more playful and less serious. I think it's funny that retreat showed up though. All right. Virgo. And one of the things that I don't know why this comes up with me for this one, but like if you're looking at online dating, maybe it's time to retreat from that, you know, because I see the word disconnect from the world, right? But you may be meeting somebody new and you just need to spend time with them. Virgo singles. Okay. The Four of Cups, and that kind of makes sense. Virgo couples. What's going on for Virgo couples? Right there. Oh, yeah, and that's good. That's good. Okay, so now for those of you who are single, retreat. You know, if you feel like relationships have become a routine, it may be that you need to just kind of like disconnect for a little bit. And again, I go back to enlightenment and like just kind of spend some time with yourself right now and think about, you know, what you're actually wanting. When you look at the Four of Cups, this is about the routine. There's not a whole lot of passion. There's not a whole lot of emotion. You're just doing the day in and day out. You know, there's not too much of a connection. It's almost like things have become like dull and boring. You know, and if you're in a relationship that, you know, you may be seeing yourself as single because of this, you know, with retreat, it's saying that you need to like get back to a place where you're spending some time together for sure. But, you know, I also feel like for those of you who've been single for a while and you feel like every relationship just ends up the same and you just feel like it's a routine that you're going through, you know, then maybe it's time for you to just take a break. But now, for those of you who are in a relationship, playfulness, right? And then the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands is savoring the moment. Now, being the Eight of Wands, and then I look at the ladder, it could be that, you know, you're looking to move the relationship along to the next level. And it's just one of those things where you need to enjoy the time that you have together rather than worrying about taking it to that next level. Now, you know, with playfulness, to me, it's just saying that you need to have fun together and you need to enjoy the time in the moments that you have, right? Savoring the moment, but it's not bad at all. And just, you need to play a little bit more. But it's such a different energy for you, Virgo, looking at this one. And I'm telling you, looking at Temperance with the Two of Wands, I mean, just looking at it lined up with all the difficult things that you just pulled here as far as the outcome. I really think that it's you looking at a better path where you're not dealing with difficult endings, disappointment, emotional suffering, like with death being there. It's definitely over with for you. And again, you know, you're coming back to a place of balance where you're not struggling anymore to achieve that. Okay, Virgo, huge shift. Huge shift. You guys seem to go through really long periods of a lot of difficulty, but then when you break through, you do it in a really big way. Like, I've seen some really amazing readings when it comes to Virgo, but they're always so, like, few and far in between for me. And, you know, I chalk that up to a lot of the reason why we look at tarot readings is because we're facing difficulties. And sometimes it's nice to hear somebody voice what you're going through and understand and have compassion for it. But this is different. This is different, and it's nice to see because, like I said, with all the difficult things that you pulled with the outcome here, it's definitely over for you this time. You know, and you're going through a bigger change where you're more in control of your own fate and destiny, which I love. Absolutely love this. But I do think that there may be a situation for some of you where we're talking about a friendship, possibly with a person here, and then there is the hopes of a good connection. You know, but then I also look at you, like, for some of you trying to, like, balance out, you know, your day-to-day and then also having fun with the Three of Cups, right? But I see it as the support system. So even if you do have somebody in your space right now, they do support you and they may be trying to help you see things, you know, from that logical perspective where you're not overthinking something. But I don't know, I'm looking at that Two of Cups and I'm going possibly a friend, possibly having a connection, hoping to see eye to eye with someone, celebrating a reunion possibly. I mean, it looks good to me, but regardless of whatever is happening, like I said, it's you getting control over what fate and destiny is handing you this time. Now, with Temperance coming out, I do like that this is here with the Emperor, and then even looking at the Two of Wands, you know, because you're getting better control. Getting back to a place of balance and equilibrium here and really thinking about what you're going to do this time and planning it out rather than being focused on all the shit that you've been through. Because I'm telling you, I look at this as the circumstances that you have been through. There's definitely hurt emotions around a painful ending, but with death, it's definitely over with. You know, there is not going to be any more disappointment. Everything that you go through should not be like the Ten of Swords, you know, but again, it's over with death and things are changing and they're changing in a big way, but I still see you looking at what is my next path, you know, and you're getting back to this really beautiful place here where you feel better about who you are, you know, and with enlightenment, right? Seeing yourself almost through a better set of eyes, not looking at like the funhouse mirrors anymore and actually being comfortable with who you are and happy with who you are because naturally you're beautiful. I mean, I love it. I love that those showed up for you, especially enlightenment, because that is my Hermit card. But like I said, it's really about you feeling more in control over what is happening with you. Whatever fate and destiny throws your way this time, you're going to have a say in what actually happens. You know, you're not going to be forced to go through something, but I do think that it's one of those things where, like I said, you may have something that is just kind of like, here you go, and you're looking at it like, right? Possibly a connection with a friend. And again, it doesn't have to be romantic, right? It could just be hoping to see eye to eye with somebody that you may have had difficulties with. Now, as far as relationships go, for those of you who are single, you know what I feel like looking at this with Retreat and the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups is the relationship that has gone into the routine. We're just doing the day-to-day every day. There isn't a lot of passion or connection. Everything just kind of feels bleh. You know, we're doing the same thing over and over again. With Retreat, if you feel like relationships are always going to be this way, it's definitely saying that you need to take a break from trying to connect and kind of look at like why you feel the way that you do about relationships and just thinking they're just going to be the same way over and over again and feeling like blah about relationships in general. Now, some of you may be looking at yourselves as single because of the routine, and that may be why you're needing to retreat with your partner here so that you don't feel like you're alone in the relationship. Now, for those of you who are in a relationship, playfulness and the Eight of Wands, have fun and enjoy the moment. And that's basically what that is. You know, don't worry about what's going to happen next or after that, you know, just have fun. And it looks good. You know, I mean, it looks like you're in a relationship where you really enjoy each other, which is great. But like I said, Virgo, whatever difficulties you've been through, it's really up to you to get control now and choose the path that you're going to take. You can continue having things end up this way, or you can be in control of your fate and destiny.